How's it going? Can you
Hey,
hear me?
it's going. Yeah, I can hear you. I
All
don't know
right.
if I sound good or not. I might sound kind of rough because I think
No,
this is my mic right now.
I
So,
I am in the process of getting a new phone. So my headphone charger, my charger port, none of that shit works anymore. So I normally have headphones and I have something synced up, and I wanted to take a shit right in front of me having a whole line of interviews. So of
yeah,
course,
I'm
why
just
not?
hoping for the best. Heck
All
yeah.
right. Let me see if I can get Char added in here really quick and have some fun, dude. And of course,
Hell
let's see
yeah.
here.
Hey.
Ah, what is going on, man?
Hello,
Thank you
Millennial
so, so
everyone.
pause.
much.
No, no
First and foremost,
worries.
you two taking the time tonight out of busy schedules. You guys constantly have shit posting, episodes, movies we're talking about. Dear Lord, first and foremost, thank you so, so much. The Terror Takeover, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
So, I mean, as far as, like, there's a lot to cover. I mean, maybe even before our stories and some of the fun that we have with horror movies, how do you two meet?
Oh,
So we actually
man.
met at boarding school in high school. Um, we shared an umbrella because it was raining and only one of us had an umbrella, and then the rest is history. We just became best friends after that. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was super cutesy. Even back then, Crow was like this super ethereal goth figure, just like walking through our campus, and I was like, I gotta know that girl right now. I got to. So it
Soulmates.
rained, it came together, and we've just been soulmates ever since.
Oh my gosh, the
It's been
heart.
incredible.
It's
Yeah, that's
not
perfect.
doing it
What just
anymore.
happened?
I
Oh,
don't know, it's been
it
like
made like a
little water.
heart, but it
Oh,
doesn't want. Oh,
What the fuck
yay,
is going on?
cute.
I love it. That's amazing.
Okay,
Yes.
wow, yeah, awesome. No, that's cool. I mean, so you guys have been friends for forever.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, like
Jesus.
I guess 15 years or so, probably something like that.
Now,
Yeah, pretty
even
much.
at a young age, did you guys like have the horror connection as far as movies and just hanging out on weekends and such?
Um, yeah, I mean, I will say that it took. So Char was always into horror, but it took time for you to come around to certain genres of horror because you would
Yeah,
get so
for
spooked
sure.
by it. And I vividly remember that, like your line in the past, it's so funny to think about now because it's not even close. Like you're willing to just watch anything, but your line in the past was Home Invasion, number
Yes.
one, and Aliens was the
Yes.
other one. Like she just couldn't do
Yeah,
Aliens for some reason.
I know.
But yeah, and then there were certain things that I had a hard line on. I can't think of it right now, but yeah, now we just kind of watch whatever. Like we're just
Yeah.
consuming the most
Right.
horrible travesties. So yeah,
Yes. And I would still enjoy hanging out in your room watching you play like all these scary games, but then I would just go back to my
yeah,
room with like the lights on and just pretend like I was cool, but I was terrified the whole time. So
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that because, like, me, when I was younger, my best friend Ryan, we were always kind of discovering things, and the internet wasn't really a thing, but there were the yeah, kind of the blogs, I guess that you would say, of like just random, blurbs of people that were like the most disgusting horror movies, and
yeah.
and this was always shit that
Yeah.
like he was interested in, and he was always very into pushing that line. And oh man, have you
Yeah.
ever heard of Face the Death? And it's like,
Yeah.
Oh my
I just want to
Serbian
eat
gosh.
some
films.
pizza, have some
Yeah.
coke,
Just try to
God
have a
Not
good
damn
trying to
it.
watch people
time.
actually die on camera.
Yeah,
That's not my thing.
decapitations,
Yeah, that's
man, we
true.
were all out there
Car crash
rotten.
compilations.
Yeah. See, and there was like rotten.com
Yes.
and all those type of things
Hmm.
where
Oh,
it's just like,
that was home.
you know, is there any sort of anthology we can put on or a monster movie? Like that's
Right.
what, that was where
Yes.
my energy was. And I'm like, God damn it. But
Hmm.
so, I mean, now Shar, ever since are young and growing up, where did that initial energy toward film and even more so toward horror invent?
I feel like it was always sort of there, like kind of bubbling under the surface. Like I remember my mom was really into true crime growing up. Like she was always just giving me the rundown, like the whole big OJ case and like with the DC sniper and just all this like and just random stories we'd hear on like the radio about this person's roommate like poisoned them. So it was always kind of like in the background. But my early
What?
movies were I know that's like kind of messed up, but I think she thought it was like a protective thing. But
Sure.
my actual movie interest kind of came in later. I remember watching like quarantine movies with some friends at a sleepover, and then watching the Purge movies when those came out. And I was absolutely terrified. Like, I mean, I was in the theater with my hands over my eyes, like freaking out. But I just kept coming back to it. I don't know. I feel like in probably the most recent years, maybe the past 3 or 4, I really just dove into horror. Like, you know what?
Mhm.
Especially when like kind of like the art house aura took over, and it was a lot less jump scares and gore and a lot more just these really psychological concepts and more just kind of freaky atmosphere. That kind of helped me transition into consuming a lot more horror content. And then from there,
Sure.
a lot more film content too.
Sure. And honestly, I think it's a great thing for, the genre as a whole, as far as like people say the elevated
Yes.
horror, and there being, some of the things that have come out with Talk to Me and
Yes,
Hereditary,
absolutely.
any of that stuff. I mean, like, I think it kind of gave a little bit of like you mentioned, art house, or a little bit of, kind of like a feeling of, I can kind of stick my nose in the air about this. Like, this is a little,
Yeah.
Mhm.
this is something to be proud of. Like, look at this cinematography. And these motherfuckers
Yes.
spent years on this score.
They
Like, how cool.
did that
Absolutely.
shit. Yeah.
Yes, I understand like layers of the themes that are going on in this film. I see
Right.
everything. It really
Sure.
is a lot to like know your knowledge, especially about like A24 or Neon and these big production houses. It really became a badge of honor in the community to understand their work.
Dude.
Hmm.
And honestly, like, I was just having a conversation last night on an episode with a friend from here, from the horror community. His name's Doug, and we were talking about Nope. And I had realized that I had not watched
Yes.
that movie even since the theater, and
Yes.
I started digging into it a little bit more right before the episode here, and I'm just like, man, there's so much going on. I was watching it behind the scenes with Jordan Peele and Kiki Palmer talking about some of the elements. I'm just like, fuck, dude,
Yes.
there's
Hmm.
so much going on here. Like, it's honestly kind of insane, for it to be like a horror movie, and really impressive, truthfully, for
Yeah.
some of the stuff that's going on
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah, it was kind of a
Right.
sleeper when I'm not a sleeper, but it came out and people weren't like as amped up as they were for like Get Out and Us, but it was definitely
Yeah.
just as good, just as interesting plot, amazing. Like the monster was, the alien was incredible that they put together, and then the story was really detailed, lots of really sick scenes. I just watched a video of the actor they used to represent the monkey in the film, and that was like, man, if that even kept a
Dude,
human, that would have been
is
terrifying.
he
Like
not
that was incredible
scarier than
work.
the monkey was?
Yes, yes, yes. Just a guy walking around on crutches, covered in blood, like just, oh my God. Yeah, that was intense horror,
It
honestly.
was and it was like the silliest, like, practical kind of like
Yeah,
fangs that he could have had, like a
yeah,
mouthpiece. But like,
yeah,
when you closed up on this guy, I was like, holy shit, this guy's scary.
yeah. I couldn't imagine just sitting under a table looking at this guy and keeping it together.
No. And no offense to him whatsoever. I don't want to, seem like
No,
an asshole. But like, dude, they could have had this guy in that part, and that would have been pretty
no,
fucking
literally.
intimidating.
It was absolutely outrageous, honestly. Yeah, Nope is a great film. Jordan Peele, I love what he's doing in the whole horror community.
Mhm.
I'm ready for the next piece from him, for real.
I can't
Mhm.
wait. I know. And there's something recently saying that possibly like a
Yes.
2025, type situation too. So,
Oh,
Excited.
nice.
I'm excited. I think I always feel nervous just because I'm still coming around to Nope. I love Get Out. Us, actually, maybe even just, well, maybe not just as much. I love Get Out.
Yeah,
That
Get
was
Out
that movie is
was
a
good.
Yeah.
masterpiece in horror film, honestly. And Nope is still kind of coming around to me. And I think there's just some of the layers that I'm having to peel back and look into, what it is that's being said. And but that's, part of the beauty of some of the horror that's going on nowadays. It's like you can
Mhm.
watch these things a couple of times and still pick up on even more, and it be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
something that you're like, holy fuck, I did not pick
We
up on that.
always say it takes us a few days after we watch a movie for us to really know how we feel about it. Like that's a thing that we're starting to realize more and more. So that initial like visceral reaction that we have, like the minute we're walking out of the theater, or the minute that like the lights come on, it's like, okay, that is not such an honest feeling, because we're probably thinking of the last scene, or we're probably asserting our own bias on it. But
Yeah.
after you've had a few days to kind of look into it and just like kind of stew on it and think about it a lot, then it's like, okay, these are my real feelings about this, and this is like what I've contrived from the film, basically just from my
Yeah.
own, I guess, like analysis and just reading about it online and things like that. So yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
takes some time.
You know,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's always hard too, with like, I think with having a page, I think, like ours, and following different people that, are very avid horror fans. And, it makes it kind of hard to not like see initial reviews, or, like,
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
fucking letterbox. And it's like, oh no, I just wanted to walk
Oh
into
my
this
God.
not have a bias. But Did you guys see
Yeah.
Long Legs?
We did.
Or wait, you just
Yes.
Did.
posted. Okay, so or
We
did you post
just
an
finished
episode
our
or?
episode. We like just
Yes.
literally 20 minutes finished recording it. So
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I don't want to. Maybe I don't want to ruin. As far as your guys'
oh,
take is
Yeah.
oh no, it's
on the.
cool.
We're fine to
I
talk
get it.
about it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a huge bummer. I mean, really,
Really?
like
Oh my gosh.
it
I can't
was.
wait to
It
get into
was
it.
such an opportunity to like be great. And I think that maybe from like memory till being a little kid, the marketing was just a home run. Like
Was
Yes.
I
Blair Witch,
was
It was
so
over the
but was
top.
fully Blair Witch Project. Like I feel like it was Blair Witch Project levels marketing
yeah,
almost. Like as far
yeah.
as
You're
like
right. You're right.
yeah,
Okay.
how
Yeah.
just how like real it was. Like it all just felt so real. And then also I was telling Charlotte that this reminded me a lot. I don't know if you remember that movie Veronica that came out a few years ago, or I guess it's probably like 10 years now. But it's this like Spanish possession movie, and everywhere for some reason, everyone was talking about it, saying it's the scariest movie. And now that I'm looking back on it, it was probably all marketing, but saying that it's the scariest movie that's come out in 10 years, which is exactly what they're saying about Long Legs. And just like this
So
part of this movie is going to
disturbing.
totally like freak you out. Yeah. And watching the movie, not saying that this was my experience with Long Legs, but watching the movie, I was like completely underwhelmed. And honestly, I couldn't tell you anything about it today. Like it wasn't a very scary movie at all, and it wasn't very even like
Weird.
memorable. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they did a really good job on the marketing, and there are still people talking about it today, even though it was kind of like, in my opinion, a meh movie. It wasn't really that great, in my opinion.
That
Yeah.
stinks. And honestly, like when I go into a theater, when I rent something, when I pull it up, even streaming, even if I'm not paying for it, like I personally, and I don't know if this is something, that resonates with the two of you at all, but I want to be a fan. I'm not somebody who
Yeah,
Oh.
turns on something to be a fucking hater. I'm not somebody who turns
Oh,
yeah,
on a
no, for
record to
sure.
just
yeah.
be
That's
like,
real shit.
oh,
Yeah, I don't
this
hate watch.
bullshit. Get this
Yeah,
out of here. This
No.
DP didn't know what he was doing. Just like
yeah,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? Like, have fun, like,
yeah,
enjoy things.
for
What's the
sure.
point if you're just going to shit on? But I just thought that there was like such an opportunity that I feel like, truthfully, I think my official like review to it is like, if there were 3 or 4 more rewrites, I think this would have been just an amazing fucking movie. I think they were really on to a couple ideas, and it just
Yeah.
didn't hit for me, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think they
Um,
put a lot of ideas together, and I do think they
mhm.
executed them well, but it was kind of loosely tied to each other. They did a great job of kind of hiding certain things from the trailers, and that kind of helped pique people's
Yeah,
interest, especially the marketing as well. But then the actual movie, when it came out, was kind of like, okay, this is fine. Like it wasn't like a crazy summer thriller or really terrible, but it was just like Chloe said, more Crow said, more of like a mid
Yeah.
thing. So anyway, no, sorry, I forgot. My bad.
I'll, I'll delete
it's just funny
it.
because I'd never hear that name anymore, and then I'm like,
Oh,
who's that?
sorry, that's always in my head. My bad, my bad.
No,
No,
it's
no.
not. It's
No,
all good.
I think, and something that's like also impressive was going into a movie like Long Legs. I feel like when I got into the theater and it was maybe 5 or 10 minutes in, I realized I'm like, I have no fucking idea what this movie's about.
No.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
I was
It
so
gave nothing
excited
away.
and I was so enthralled with just everything about this universe that I was about to get into. But I'm like,
hmm
I don't know where the fuck I don't know anything about this.
right,
Like it
Yeah,
was just
right,
such like a mystery too. So, and I love a slow burn. I love even things
for
that don't
sure.
have things, going on. Like if you were to watch, like Mind Hunters, the TV series
yeah.
that was
That
on
We
was
Netflix.
our
loved that. That
show.
was our
You know,
show
That was
for
our
it's
sure.
show.
not to say that it's amazing or there's nonstop action and shootouts and all this bullshit, but that show is fucking amazing. It
Yeah,
It
I
was
is
wouldn't
great.
great.
change a single thing about it.
Yeah.
I
I think it's
agree.
an amazing
I
show, and I
agree.
say to anybody that has Netflix, like watch that show. It's so good. I recommend it to
Yeah.
everybody. But I feel like there's so few people that actually watched it,
I
and that's why it got
know.
canceled.
And to not
I
get
know.
picked up
So
again,
that
Yeah.
was crazy.
dude.
Yeah, but
hmm
I think they said it was a lot of work to like put together, which I'm surprised. It was mostly a lot of dialogue and really good actors, but they were very on
Yeah.
point. So I'm not sure how
Right.
it could have been more expensive, but I think
Yeah.
the director wanted more projects. But I agree, it
Right.
was a very good slow burn, true crime kind of like thriller moment, and it was the same thing with Long Legs, but I think they just kind of like lacked a lot of the spiritual occult aspects of the movie,
Yeah.
which I think they oversold a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Right. And like I said,
Um,
I I think there's some cool, aspects to it. I didn't want to completely shit on it, but there was just
For sure.
things I was like, man, I really think they could have, even if they took another like 20 minutes to just be able to explain a couple more things, or,
For sure.
really have us kind of feeling, like me personally, I didn't really feel tied to where like, these certain families or the things that were happening, I was
Right.
like, oh no, what's going on? Like, are they going to
Yeah.
stop this? It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
all
very
right.
fast. Yeah, I was kind of like just seeing people die and then moving on, moving on. It's kind
Yeah.
of like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, well, didn't
Yeah.
really get
Um,
involved with anyone.
I was saying actually in our episode just a little bit earlier that, and Char knows this because we've been talking about this movie for days, but I like the minute the movie ended, I literally just sat there like I hated it. Like I really, really did not like it, and I was unhappy, like super unhappy because I had high hopes. And then a few days went by, and it's really grown on me like a lot. I think I just needed to think about it and read about it and all that stuff. And I would say now at this point, I think it was a really good movie. There were certain aspects about it that I was like, I kind of would have liked for that to be different. Namely, I don't know what it is with my hang up with like Nick Cage playing like a really dramatic character. I think it's because
Yeah.
I foolishly saw his like version of Wicker Man, which I think that ruins everybody's like brain for Nick
No.
Cage. So yeah, not the beast. So I think that my problem is I see that character in all of these wild characters that he plays, and I kept seeing that in Longlegs, and that was kind of like my issue. But and it was the same issue with Mandy. I thought Mandy was an incredible film, except for like Nick Cage's character, and it's not because I don't like him. I actually do like him. I like Vampire's Kiss, and I like some other movies that he's been in and things like that. But I think that was my main hang up. But I acknowledge that I'm one of the very few people that thinks that. So I have no issue being like, just because I wasn't crazy about something doesn't mean that it was bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And like I say too, anytime I think especially, with anybody having like a little bit of a platform or a voice and, people listening to shit, I think
Yeah.
that's where a lot of times like I really try if I'm not a fan of something to just not post things on here because I don't want things
Right.
to
Or
be
just
pessimistic. I don't want things being shitty, especially like because
Yeah.
sometimes
sure.
people get really personal with, the fact that they do like
Yeah.
it or that they love it, and it's like, dude,
Right.
I'm
We're
not
fighting
fucking
off fans.
attacking you. Like it's
Yeah.
nothing against you personally. Like
Yeah.
you seem very nice, but that
Right.
movie was not good.
Dead End
No, for
Scrolls
sure.
says Nick Cage is naturally funny, so it's hard not to want to laugh at him. And yeah, like I agree with that. And
I
I think
agree.
that was Char was saying the same thing. Like I think the point of the movie was to be a little funny. I'm just
Yeah.
like I'm not into like funny, or I don't like comedic moments. So for me, like I guess it's like harder for me to reconcile that. But
And that's
yeah, I think a
fair.
lot of people liked that.
Now,
Right. Yeah, that's
are
me
you
though.
not a
That's just
fan
me, you know.
even like like horror comedy? Are you
So
not a fan of it all?
I'm really weird about it. Like I like certain ones. Like I thought that Tucker and Dale versus Evil did it really well, but there's not like a whole lot of other ones
Yeah.
that I actually like enjoyed just because I'm just like,
It can be
like I don't know. I just
cheesy.
right, yeah.
It's really
I'd
hard to
have to
tell the
like think of
line.
some examples. Yeah, but I can't name off the top of my head like what I don't like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I like some of the scary movie parodies, obviously. I thought they were funny, but they were
Oh
obviously
my
a
Yeah,
lot
some
more
were fine.
comedy
Yeah.
than horror,
dude.
Like
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
just
yeah. Right.
you don't go into those for the
Like,
scares, really.
Hmm.
seriously, what's funny is like I probably this last year my wife and I watched those and we were watching like the first two, which obviously they come to mind and it's like
Yeah.
the Marlon brother or the Wayne's brothers, like the
Yeah.
dudes were just fucking geniuses when they were
Yeah.
coming up with this stuff. And but then you got to three, and that's the one that had like that dirt nasty dude.
Oh,
What was
God.
Yeah.
what is
It just started getting so like random, like
but
crazy.
honestly,
Yeah.
I watched it back recently and I was like, holy shit, this movie's really funny. Like I
Really?
was
Yeah,
surprised.
Maybe I should
the
go
first couple are
back.
like super like I will say we put it on like not so long ago. A friend of mine was over and we said let's like watch the first scary movie because she'd never seen it. And it was like she's one of those people that's like super uncomfortable anytime there's like a sex scene or something that's like a little bit too perverted. And I've like
Yeah.
completely forgot that the entire movie was basically just like innuendos. And I was like, ah, and we ended up turning it off and putting something else on because
Oh
I could just sense she
no.
was uncomfortable. Yeah, but I feel like the later scary movies ended up getting like actually like I'm not gonna say intellectually funny, but it wasn't so much low-hanging fruit, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Got it. And I think even in like the third or the fourth one, like Leslie Nielsen was in it too, and it was like, holy shit! Like,
Yeah,
what
that
is
was
going
super
Yeah,
on?
they're bringing all
yeah.
kinds of
Even like
people
the
in.
Naked Gun movies, like
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was surprising to me, as far
Hmm.
as actually being a fan. But
For,
now, Crow, as
Yeah.
for
far
sure.
as your introduction and your just interest in horror and even film. I mean, as as a young individual yourself, is it something where you were going to theaters with your family or video rentals? How did that go?
So we had cable, and that was like the downfall of like me as a human being, basically. But
Right.
I think my love for horror kind of was born from like my naturally like rebellious nature, and it was, you know how you used to have the channel lock where you could like put a passcode on certain channels, and so my parents would have that on like AMC or just any channel basically that just played horror. And so as soon as I found out what the passcode was by simply watching them input it on the remote, I would wait for them to go
Super
anywhere.
sneaky.
Right. I would wait for them to go to the store, go to work, and I would like that'd be the first thing I would do was put that on TV. And it was like, ooh, it was more exciting because this was something I wasn't supposed to be watching. Obviously, as I got older, like, and I say older, I mean like 12 years old, my mom was like, okay, there's nothing we can do. Obviously, this is what she's gonna enjoy watching. We all just ended up watching it together a lot as a family and got like trauma bonded together and all that, I
Cute.
guess. But yeah, I basically have loved horror movies ever since I started loving movies, basically.
Man, that's awesome. Did you have like certain friends that kind of had made that bond with too? As I mean, Char, I'd assume at some
Yeah,
point you guys were like, well, Child's
yeah,
Plays on TV.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely, I think that, I mean, there's so much to like our friendship. There's so many levels to our friendship, but that
Yeah.
definitely was, I think, a big part of it, like being able to like talk about like certain movies that we like or watch them
Yeah.
together. Sometimes we'll put each other because she lives about 4 hours away from me. We'll put each other on Discord and we'll just like watch a movie and just hit play at the
Yeah.
same time and just kind of like be on the phone while we're watching it. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's not actually, I don't have like a whole lot of other friends that like actually genuinely
That's kind
like
of what helped
horror. It's
bond us. A
crazy.
lot of people we knew
Yeah.
weren't actually into horror like that. I remember we watched like The Walking Dead together back when we were first like
In high
becoming friends, and that was like our
school,
bonding
yeah,
moment.
yeah,
Yes, we watched
yeah.
that whole series together
Every
because nobody else wanted
Sunday.
to. Everyone else was scared.
Yeah,
Every Sunday we were there. Man, it's just
yeah.
R.I.P. to where it's gone for real. But yeah,
Right,
we'd always just kind of
right.
bonded to that with each other. I know people in my life who like they'll watch a movie like Longlegs where there's kind of scary elements, but it's not like nonstop horror. But I
Mhm.
couldn't get them to watch something I don't know more intense. Like I recently watched Bones and All, and I loved it, but I don't think I could get anyone I know to
Oh
watch that with
man,
me. It was
Yeah.
one of
dude,
my top
I
fours,
never
but
saw
it's
it, so
rough.
no spoilers, but I
Yeah, no
want to watch
spoilers,
it
no
so bad.
spoilers.
it's
It's
But
great.
high up on
cannibals
the
aren't for
list.
everyone.
It is
Heard it's
so good.
It's a love story.
That
It's
reminded me.
romantic.
That reminded me of a movie that recently came out, kind of along those lines. Not well, I don't want to say Crow if you don't know what the movie is about, but um, kind of along those lines. But it's almost like disjointed, where you don't know quite, where it's going. Fuck, what
Hmm.
is it called? My heart can't beat unless you tell it to. You ever heard of this?
Oh no, I haven't, but
Maybe.
that sounds
Oh,
strange.
dude,
Wow,
It's
it
familiar.
is. It is fucking
I'll
awesome.
check it
It's
out.
great. I think it's on
That's
Prime.
streaming.
Um,
Mm.
Ooh, or
it's.
Shutter probably.
I don't think it's on Shutter actually. I
Oh
think it's
really?
on like either like Prime or it's on maybe Tubi or some shit like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Cool, cool. No, I'll check it
it
out.
is, loosely initially you kind of are feeling like this family. It feels like it's a very real situation, and this
Yeah.
family
Right.
is dealing with the fact that their brother is a vampire,
Hmm.
and so they have to kind of go
Oh,
out
okay.
and try to like hunt
Is it on
down
Shudder?
people. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't think so. It might be though. Shit, honestly.
I feel like I've seen it because you know how Shudder does those channels that just plays like live, just like movies,
Yeah.
scrolling
Yeah.
basically throughout the day. I think this might have been on there at one point because I remember like I'm looking at these shots and it looks familiar.
Oh, really? Dude,
Maybe, I don't know.
it's
I'm not sure.
Bones and All really reminded me, not that it's like anything connected
Yeah, it's
or
not
it's like a
a
copy of
vampire
each other,
movie,
because it's a
but
different, I mean, subgenre too.
Hmm.
But um, that movie, man, like it's crushing. If at some point you're
yes,
looking for
yes.
something, it's good.
Mm.
It's deep too. It's kind
Yeah,
of sad.
yeah. No, no, it really was. It really
I
had a
like
lot of
sad
emotions
stuff.
into it.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, the ending just had me sitting there like, wow, this is so sad. My heart, I'm crying.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. Any movie where it's like a normal setting, but with this slight twist or these characters that are kind of forced to be on the outskirts of life and how they make it through that is really gripping for people, even if
Yeah.
you have a relatively regular life and you're not doing all
Yeah.
those things. It
Yeah.
was really well shot.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
enjoyed
for
it, but
sure.
it's definitely there are a lot of things I was kind of like, I cannot believe I'm watching this right now. I'm not someone that gets queasy, but I was trying to eat while I was watching the movie, and I was like, no, this isn't gonna work. This is not gonna work at all.
Eating
Like
a steak and or burger, perhaps.
no, actually, God, I would have died at that point. I would have been like, wow,
Yeah.
help.
Holy
No.
Liturgy says bones and all in the movies that make me profoundly sad pile, period.
Yes, yeah, a sad movie for
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do not cook ribs that night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
No,
saying? Don't make any
yeah,
sort
It
of,
might be too
if
much.
you're thinking of
no,
barbecuing or something,
yeah.
don't
Good time to go
just put that one
vegetarian.
out. That's not going to work.
True.
Now,
That's
as
right.
far as, both of your ventures and within horror, sometimes, we kind of get into these comfort zones and we get into, having fun and maybe liking monster movies. But what are, some times that the two of you are maybe just pushed a little bit more over your edge and maybe popped on something that you're like, I don't think I like this.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that we both, I mean, we talk about it sometimes, but I think we both have like a little bit of a boundary when it comes to like obviously like harsh like assault scenes as far as like of the sexual nature. I don't like
Yeah,
things like that as a woman.
yeah,
Obviously that
Agree.
makes me uncomfortable, but also um I do not do like animal violence. Like I can't, I still haven't seen
yeah.
Cannibal Holocaust because I like can't do animal violence in any way, shape, or form. Like that's a hard line for me.
Yeah.
I know we were joking about like vegan origin story or whatever, but like I am vegetarian, so like that's something for me that I'm already like, oh God, it makes me queasy. I just don't like it. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I know it sounds crazy, but I am still like just weird about aliens. I think it's because it's so like you never know it could
No,
happen.
I
I actually did
love
watch like
it.
Alien recently, and it was
Yeah.
good. But I remember just the whole time kind of being like, yeah, no, this is too much. Annihilation was like it was not supposed to be as
Oh,
dramatic as it was for me, but it was very dramatic. I watched that movie and I was just like, wow, this is it. I am miserable. The world is miserable. Like everything is just going wrong. That movie was very dark for
Yeah.
me. I'm happy I watched it because a lot of people really highly regard it, but I'm just like, wow, this was. I probably should have picked something lighter. I think I do like atmospheric movies, but I think that went a little too far on the edge for me. So anything
For
that's like
that
a
sure.
very bleak movie is kind of a lot for me.
and
Yeah.
So
that
Dude,
bear
what's up? Sorry.
that no, I was just
I'm
I was
always
just
looking
thinking
at chat.
about Annihilation, that bear scene.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God.
It's funny
Yeah,
because
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
rough.
like
yeah.
a lot of times people will kind of post something or they'll kind of say, so, oh, this part, you're going to die, this thing, da, da, da. And for whatever reason, I don't think that ever came across like my story or my feed
No.
or reviews, anything like that. And so that moment came up in that scene, and both my wife and I were like, what the
Yeah, like what
fuck?
the fuck
Yeah,
is
it's a lot.
happening?
Seriously, like
Yeah.
the back of my mind for a while, and it was the sounds,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the human
Yeah.
like scream. I was like,
Ah!
fuck
Yeah.
Yeah.
me.
I don't
Detail.
like
I was
people
like
It was,
getting
4K
eaten
horror.
and shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot for me.
Yeah,
yeah,
that shit was a
yeah,
lot to
yeah.
see. Anything that
Yeah.
involves someone getting ripped apart is kind of like what? Also,
Yeah.
the movie Titan. I don't think that was a horror, but we watched that
Yeah.
together.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know why we
Yeah, that
did
one was
that. We
just
should never have done
strange.
that was a
Yeah.
lot. These like really out there horror movies that just, especially
Yeah.
body horror. I think we appreciate body horror, but it can
Yes, I
definitely easily go
love
too
body
far.
horror.
Those kind of movies.
Yeah, I
So
love it.
see,
I love it. BBT
I
says the soundtrack to Annihilation is next level. I
that
agree. And
dude.
also,
that added a lot to the
I
movie.
saw that TV Glow is another one we keep seeing people talk about, but I don't think I never got around to it. I don't know if any of you guys have watched it.
Yeah.
There's that, and then some other Australian movie called Bird Eater. You guys heard of
I didn't even
this?
Oh
see that. No.
no, no.
It's people keep on posting up the IMDb, the like screenshot of the IMDb, and it says like violence, above mature,
Oh
something
shit.
something. I
All the
don't
good
know.
stuff.
It's like the
Yeah, well,
farthest
Yeah.
sign me
like
up.
extreme of the
Let's check it
reviews.
out.
So I'm like,
Oof.
okay,
What?
I don't know exactly what's going on, but I know Talk
Let's
to Me
dive
was like
into
an
it.
Australian thing,
Yeah,
and they kind of
that
have
was a
a
really
bit of a
good.
resurgence going on right now.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
really, really
Australia's
excited.
their cinema scene is weird because they're not necessarily like global. You don't really hear about stuff from them that often, but when they do put something out, it tends to be really good. So
Hmm.
Hmm.
I appreciate them a lot. I enjoy Talk to Me. I liked the whole concept of like let's I don't know do spirits as drugs. Let's like go
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
That
for
was a great
sure.
vibe. It was
I'd
really
be one of
interesting. It
those
wasn't super
dumbass
super
kids.
scary.
Yeah.
No, for
I'd be the
Yeah,
sure.
first one. I'd be
I
the chick
still
that's
want
like,
the
I'll
hand.
do it,
I
trying to be
want the
cool and
hand.
all that, shaking what I'm like, would you
No,
stop?
literally.
Dude,
Yeah.
apparently Fred Durst was in I Saw the TV Glow, so I have to watch
Oh
it
my
with you
God.
tomorrow.
No, we
That's
have
what
to watch
everybody's
it.
saying.
I'm excited for it.
I'm
We
like,
gotta see.
huge Limp Bizkit person over here.
what have
Oh
you
yeah.
have you guys seen Fan then? I take it, or
No,
is
but
it
I've
the
heard
Fanatic?
about it.
Oh,
I've
Yeah.
heard about it.
dude,
He
it
directed it,
is
right?
so good. It is
Damn.
way
Dude,
too
I heard
good to be.
it's really bad.
No
It
way.
is fucking
Haters.
good.
Haters out
It
Oh
there.
my
was it
gosh.
was cool.
Oh, really?
And I had no idea that he had directed it, so it wasn't a bias. It wasn't something where I'm like, what
Yeah.
the fuck's the dude's name that stars in it? Um,
John
from
Travolta.
Greece, John
Yeah.
Travolta. There you go. Um, I had no emotional ties to it, and we'd watched it, and my wife and I were like,
He
both
looked
like,
horrible. He looked so creepy in that movie.
exactly. Yeah, I mean that's the vibe that he's given off.
Yeah,
He's
for
just trying
sure.
to be this like freak, and dude,
Yeah.
movie
Oh
rocks.
yeah.
Low key over. It was mental illness.
No, I feel that.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it in Babadook. I know that people have mixed feelings about that, but like we watched, what was that movie we watched? The lake, no, not the Lake House. That is like a rom-com. What
Oh
was the
no.
one? The Night House or
Yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if you
Yeah.
liked it, but I did
I
not.
didn't like it. No, I didn't like it. I feel like it wasn't really. I felt they weren't acting very well in that movie. I feel like it was dragged out too long. I just remember
Yeah.
kind of being like, "What's going on?" for most of the movie, which and not in like, "Oh, this is so mysterious" way, but just in like, "Why are they doing this kind of way?" Like, why is the
I
main
thought it
character
could be
still
a cool con
here?
had you seen that one or you didn't
What
get around to that?
what one is it again? What movie?
The
The
Night
night.
House, it's basically like this is not a like spoiler, this is basically what the trailers say, but this lady finds out that her husband, who is like missing or dead or
Killed
whatever,
himself.
may or may not have been like a serial killer, and
Yeah,
she's like finding these clues, which is like a cool concept. Like that
yeah,
sounds
it's pretty
great, but
great.
it was just like executed very strangely. Like they didn't actually
Yeah,
make him look like a bad guy at any point. Like it was just like what very weird. I don't
yeah,
know.
Yeah,
lots of empty scenes.
honestly,
Yeah.
I really love that movie. I saw that in the
Really?
theater, and there was like some moments of like, not even just the music, jumping up, but like the whole haunting aspect of that movie.
Hmm.
I had some fucking goosebumps in some parts, honestly, man. Like
Which movie?
there
Man.
was the Night House.
Oh, you did watch
Oh,
it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
thought that movie
maybe
was
we're just not really
sick.
big into haunting. I
A
feel like it
lot
can
of
be done really well
people
and really
loved it.
creepy, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
sometimes it's just kind of like, okay, well, everyone's scared. I'm just kind of hanging out, looking at a wall, like trying to get the vibe, you
Yeah.
know?
yeah,
I feel
That's
like
when
we
I'm
were
really
the
trying
only
to.
some of the only people that weren't like crazy about it
Probably
because all the
so.
other reviews I saw were really
yeah.
good.
Maybe
No,
so.
and that's the beautiful thing, though. You know what I'm saying? I think that's something that's so cool that I feel like more times than not, especially like on like the horror community, is like rather than I mean myself, Crow. I know you're involved in the hardcore community. Like that can be a very
Yeah.
hard aspect where people are like, man, this record's cool, or this movie's cool, and
Yeah.
want to shit on it. Like I think that's kind of cool with like within the horror community where I can kind of have a conversation and it might go on for an hour back and forth with
Hmm.
somebody through a chat where it's like, well, I actually just above absolutely fucking despise this. Why do you love it
Yeah.
so much? Because
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
interested.
yeah, yeah. And hearing
Yeah,
their point
let's
of
hear
view.
it.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean that's cool though.
for sure.
I just remember being in the theater and honestly like I have to think back because I remember like the aspects of the radio like blasting and like
Hmm.
just randomly turning on and then like there was a scene down in the ocean like on the boat
Yeah,
that kept
yeah.
on
That's
kind
what
of
I keep thinking
replaying
of.
and something
Yeah.
to do with like a suicide type situation.
That scene
Hmm.
was eerie. It was like a beautiful and captivating scene, but I just remember being like, I don't know, why didn't she just leave? Why didn't she just leave and never come back? Like, I just don't understand. But maybe I
Yeah.
was taking it too literal. We're down south, so
Uh,
there's like spooky things happening every time we go outside for real. So
for sure. Yeah.
it's always haunting around here.
So
No, I mean
was
now
it? I'm sorry.
yeah.
I just didn't want this comment to go without anybody seeing it. A movie called Destroy All Neighbors, but I didn't see that one. I just
Oh,
wanted to
oh
acknowledge it.
no.
Oh yeah.
This is
Yeah.
going onto
Hell
our
yeah.
list.
Destroy All Neighbors rocks.
It was a good
That's
one.
Alex Winter plays this like who was in like Bill and Ted's Big Adventure. He
Oh.
plays this like neighbor that moves in next door to this cat who is um he's like a film composer and he's like a
Oh.
guitarist and like trying to the right amount of silly. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, it is absolutely fucking. What's Angel?
Yeah.
Oh shit, what's going on? I know Angel. I've known Angel forever. Yeah, Destroy All
That's
Oh,
Native.
sick.
It's really really cool. It's basically like very just one apartment type situation, kind of like
mm,
just I
one
don't know, makes
room.
you feel a little like
This looks
um oh
ridiculous.
my god, what is it?
Yeah.
It's just basically you have one setting and this guy is trying to finish this like this soundtrack for this movie and
Right.
writing guitars and doing keyboards and all this shit. And he has this weird
Okay.
kooky neighbor that moves in, and
Oh.
it is just bloody and it's disgusting and
Oh
boogers and
yeah.
snot and
Gross.
a lot of practical effects. Like it
Okay.
is way overly silly, and
I
it
like
was a good time.
practical effects.
Silly
Nice.
can be fun.
It was on
Yeah.
I can
Shutter,
appreciate a silly
Diva T
movie at
says
times.
hardcore and horror go hand in hand, and that's 100%
dude.
facts. I
Hell
totally
yeah.
agree.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, as far as did you like Shar? Did you have anything as far as like a local video shop to you, or was this mostly like maybe some things coming
Oh
across TV that?
man. Um, yeah, I would say so. Actually, that's actually funny. That's funny you bring that up. So I remember going to Blockbuster a lot as a kid. I didn't get horror movies back then, but I used to go there and get my little movies and enjoy them. And I actually recently went to the last Blockbuster in the world in Bend. I went to go check it out, and they had a really nice setup for horror movies there. So go check it
Holy
out if you're
shit!
ever in
Really?
Bend, Oregon. Yeah, it's really cool. I'm glad it's still standing. I think you can even stay there too. So it's like a whole
Bed and
vibe.
breakfast,
But
right?
no, I went to a lot of, honestly, I feel like they've gone down in popularity, but I used to go to theaters a lot with friends or just like that was the thing to do. Like you and your friends go hang out and go see a horror movie the
Yeah.
night that it came out or something. And so that was kind of like
Yeah.
my biggest way of consuming. And then now it's more of just, now I still do it. Now I went to go see Long Legs by myself like the day that it came out. I went to go see Maxine with a couple friends. Like it just depends on the kind of movie. But for the most part, no, I didn't really rent out movies. I kind of wish I did because I think that would be such a vibe to just go and like grab your horror movies and like get together with your friends at a sleepover. But yeah, that was mostly the way that I consumed them.
Dude,
I enjoyed them.
and theaters, now are you West Coast then?
No, no, I'm in Houston, Texas.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. For some reason,
so
okay, for some reason I was thinking you guys were East Coast, so I'm even
Mm-mm.
further.
no,
Cool.
no,
Where
we're
are you
down
at,
south.
bro?
I'm in Louisiana.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we're Southern
shit.
girls.
Duh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dirty
no, it's
South.
perfect. Yeah,
For whatever reason I was thinking because I saw like a time difference and I was thinking that it was East Coast, but you're PST, right?
no, CST, CST.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's where
Central.
I'm
Yeah,
all
so we're like
fucked
just
up. You know.
1 hour.
Oh, you're good.
Jesus
Yeah, it's
H.
good. It's all good. It's close. We're almost there. We hang out
No,
Yeah.
together a lot.
I, the theater, I mean, it's like such an absolutely awesome thing, and I still appreciate the theater that since I've been a little kid, we still have open here. But we also
Oh,
have a
I love that.
drive-through. Do you guys have a
That's
drive-in at
cool.
all?
No,
We have
I wish we
no, we
did.
have
Dude,
like the rooftop ones, like rooftop cinema. It's
Oh,
like
do
a vibe, which
you?
still,
Y'all
yeah,
have a lot
which
more
can be
than
still,
I'm from a smaller
yeah,
town.
damn.
yeah. I'll have to come check it out.
What is
But
a
no, I would love to do
rooftop
it.
theater?
Oh, it's just like so there's like this giant building in Houston. You just go on the top of it, and they have like a big projector that you can. They have a bunch of seats you can sit in. They just have a big projector that plays a movie for you, and they have like drinks and food, and they play different movies throughout the week. But it's really chill. It's almost it kind of gives the same vibe as a drive-through theater, but obviously you're not in a
Yeah.
car. But it's
Hmm.
still just like an outdoor movie experience, which
That's
I think is amazing.
cool.
I love doing that.
Yeah.
Same thing with like parks here too. They'll play movies. They don't do
Oh,
horror that often, I guess, because they don't.
It's,
People aren't gonna bring their
yeah.
kids to see
People
a
would
scary
complain
movie
and
all
all
the
that.
time,
Right.
but still, it's pretty sick, honestly.
Nice.
I
damn.
appreciate that
No,
about us.
that
Yeah.
rules. I'd never heard of that before, and I'm kind of surprised because I've had quite a few people from Houston area and in Texas area before, and nobody's ever
Really?
mentioned that.
There's
That's
No,
wild.
so
it's a
much to
pretty
do in
sick thing.
Houston. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, you could be like in one part and not know anything about another part. I feel like every time I move,
Right.
I'm like, oh, here's a bunch of new things next door to me. Like where I
Dude.
am now is pretty much a bustling area, so that's probably why I know about like rooftop theaters and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
Okay.
Diva T
Okay.
says apparently Hardlore is dropping a Q&A with the director of Green Room this week. That's sick.
oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I did not
Yeah.
know
I heard
that.
something about that. That's
That's
gonna
really
be
sick.
rad. I wish I was a little bit closer over that way to be able to do something like that. But Green Room rocked. I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
Yeah, it was a cool movie. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was definitely a lot. It was a lot. I thought it was funny how well, I don't want to like spoil like the end of the movie, but it's not really yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it right now in the live actually. It's a good I mean everybody
Okay.
should go watch it if you're into like I guess like punk music. I feel like it's so cringe to say punk now because everybody's like, "Is
No.
that's not actually punk." But if you're into stuff like that, it's a really cool concept and definitely something that could, I mean, in my opinion, happen. I've been in weird situations as well where I've played in sketchy venues
Yeah.
and was convinced that I was going to get stabbed outside or something by somebody who
God,
hates either
yeah.
women or, like
Or Nazis,
Filipinos or some
you know.
shit.
Who
Yeah,
knows?
Yeah.
I'm
exactly.
surprised there's not more like music themed horror movies, or maybe I just haven't seen as many. But I would think there'd be a lot more around like Hollywood or about just doing shows or something
Yeah,
in that genre as well, or just metal even metal
yeah.
Dude,
horror.
have you guys seen Uncle Peckerhead?
No.
No, no,
This I swear
no.
it
I thought we
sounds
knew all
worse than what it
our
actually
movies.
is. I swear. This band goes out on their first tour and they're struggling. You know, they get to their first show, they don't get paid. They get to their second
Uh,
show, kind of the same
uh,
thing. And finally they get to this, smaller venue. There's like three cats there, and they get
You
outside and
keep
they're just
saying
like
cats,
pissed.
and I'm thinking you mean literally cats, so it's
no,
throwing me
No.
off, but I'm sorry.
that's cool. That's
I'm
No,
like,
cool.
it's
they're
just
Cool,
like
letting
cool,
three cats
bro.
people
there?
they're
That's
hanging out.
sick.
Yeah.
Hell
Okay,
yeah,
well,
hell
continue.
yeah.
But there's a couple, like people that are in audience, and then they leave out, and the guy's trying to gyp them again. And there's this older
Mm,
fella that's out, it's the middle of the night, and he's like, "Hey, did he pay you?" And they're like, "No, it kind of sucks."
yeah,
And it ends
he
up
kills
that
his
this dude
ass.
is like, he turns into a zombie at midnight, and he goes in and he
Oh,
fucking tears
Oh,
apart this
hell yeah.
club promoter,
oh,
and it's awesome,
shit.
Nice.
And is he
dude.
Good
Uncle
justice.
Peckerhead?
Uncle Pecker.
Is
All
he
right.
Uncle?
Fuck
Is
yeah.
he Uncle Peckerhead himself?
He is.
Okay,
Has to
Yeah,
be.
that's him.
Nice. Nice. No, I'll check that out. I support that. Killer with a heart.
yeah,
We love it.
It's honestly, it is so sick,
that's
man.
what's
It
up.
is, it is a fucking
I'll
fun
have to look
time,
into
and it's still,
it. It sounds fun.
kind of a horror comedy, But as far as like anybody who's ever traveled with music or played with music, and been in some of these situations, and maybe
Yeah,
even green room, and not to the far extent that it goes, but
yeah.
you have times like that where you're looking around, you're like, fuck, man, let's get paid to get out of here. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, there have been several times where we've been like, let's not stick around. But what did he
unfortunate.
ask? Any theories on the plot of Cuckoo? I don't know what the plot is. I'm very confused about it. I'm trying to understand it, but so I
Man.
don't know yet. Yeah,
I don't know if I remember which one. Is that the one with Hugh Grant?
With
that's with Hunter Schafer. No,
yeah,
you're
Hunter
thinking of
Schafer's in it.
Heretic.
We're
Heretic.
also pumped for
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
too, though. I
yeah,
also
for
watched
I
sure.
am
Heretic. That looks very good.
I am pretty excited for that, actually.
Little
Me
Seeing
too.
Hugh Grant in
mystery.
something that is,
It's unusual
not
for
a
him.
rom-com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was in that HBO show. I don't know if anyone saw it. I forget what it was called. I think maybe like Undoing or something like that, where he plays like this husband to Nicole Kidman, and he's like they're trying to figure out if he killed his mistress or not, and spoiler, he
Oh,
did. But he plays this really shitty dude. I mean, it's a given, you know it. It was a very short
yeah,
show, but
yeah,
he plays this
yeah.
really scary, really mean guy, and I loved it. So I'm excited to see him play this like creeper, I guess
Yeah, for
religious mystery
sure.
man and heretic. I'm
Oh,
excited to see it.
Yeah.
man. Hugh Grant, you piece of shit.
Yeah, you
We need to
bastard.
get a little bit better here this time.
Yes, he needs
BBC
to
says
come
some
back
of my buddies
around.
were from my hometown worked on that. I think he's talking about Uncle Peckerhead, so that's pretty sick.
Oh,
Oh,
wait, who said
nice.
that? I'm sorry, I'm so bad
Batiste?
with comments.
No, you're good. I'm
No.
sorry. I Twitch stream, so I'm always looking at the
Chat,
chat.
what's the
There you
vibe?
What's
go.
going on,
There you
chat?
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's sick.
Um,
That's very sick. I think he's talking about Uncle
Who-
Peckerhead.
Oh, oh
perhaps.
shit. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Dude, that
yeah.
rules.
Hell yeah.
I am also super pumped for Cuckoo. I feel like from the trailer, I feel like the vibe is something to do with some kind of weird replacement or her just being part of some kind of experiment because they always show her alone in a lot of scenes and they also show like just these different voices being like, are you sure you want to be a part of this or whatever? But they really, once again, did a good job with not giving too much away in the trailer. So
Yeah.
hopefully, actually, and they're not doing too much with the marketing either, which makes me kind of happy.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the movie's been supposed to be coming out for the past like I don't know, it's
Yeah.
probably been like 3 years at this point, so they probably can't
Yeah.
build up any more hype at
Right.
this point. But I think it'll be
Oh,
a lot
okay.
easier to get into that movie and be like, okay, it is what it is, and
I'm
not be
a
biased in any particular way.
I'm like a little traumatized because I feel like that was how I felt about the Maxine trailer. Like I was like, okay, like I don't know what the hell is supposed to be happening in this movie, but I was like, I'm just gonna trust it. I'm gonna trust High West and I'm gonna trust this
Yeah.
movie. And I was just like, wow, that was exactly what I thought it would have been, or that was
No, it
what I thought
literally
it would have
was
been in
the
the back of my
trailer
mind,
pretty much.
So yeah, which is just all over
Okay.
the place.
Were
Great.
you not big into Maxine then?
Have you seen that one or not yet? I don't want to
Yeah.
spoil anything.
Yep.
Yeah, we were
We're big
read
in
it
the trilogy.
first.
we love Maxine, the
Absolutely.
character, love Ty
Yeah.
West. X was great, Pearl was great. We were
And House of
super
the
pumped about
Devil was
Maxine.
great. Not related
Yeah.
to the trilogy, but I'm a fan of his directing, and
Mhm.
I we wanted to like this so much, and I thought that the setting and the music and the fashion and everything was like fabulous. Like it was really,
Yeah,
really
so
good. It was
fun.
really, really like, yeah, like just, I
It's
mean,
like a
I wasn't
sexy
alive in
80s
the
horror, you
80s,
know?
but it,
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
it was convincing to me. However, the plot was like all over the place,
Yeah.
all over the place. And we had like very strong opinions about certain characters and like whether or not they should have even been in the film at all,
Yeah.
things like that. So,
Third act was really kind of like where it all really fell apart, honestly. So, which is
right.
rough because it was supposed to be also the third installment of the series, supposed to be wrapping it up, and
Yeah.
really kind of felt like they just slapped a bunch of things together and were like, all right, we're done, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, no, no, we didn't
Right.
like
I
it.
Yeah.
But
We
feel like
totally broke it
it.
down in an episode.
I feel like it nudged a little bit over Pearl. I
really,
wasn't huge in. I'm not gonna say that I hated it by any means because I thought it was a cool movie. I thought it was it was fun,
Hmm.
and I liked kind of seeing that origin and the crocodile again, and just
yeah.
all the shit and her kind of completely snapping. But I thought Maxine was pretty damn decent. But like you're saying, I think towards some of the end of it, it was a little bit much. But I will say, to its credit, have you watched X recently? Like since you've seen Maxine?
We
No.
probably should have watched them all again before we went to go see it. But no, I haven't seen it since it first came out.
So a
I meant to give
crazy
like one
thing, and
rewatch.
I don't want this to be a spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen, but
I
after I'd watched that,
mean,
I was like, man, I really want to see the other two movies again. I popped on X, and the prominent character, I'll just say at the end, that we, kind of unveil of like who this is, he is
Hmm.
all over the beginning of X. And like every time he's on the TV, because he's like a pastor, like a minister,
Yeah.
Maxine always walks by the TV and she's just like staring at it, kind of like,
oh,
Oh
because
no, I realized that.
of who
That's
that
true.
is.
Yeah.
And
oh,
so you
is
go
it
back and
True.
watch it, and
really?
you're like,
Like you see his
oh
face?
shit. Yeah.
I was always
That's
lurking
pretty
in the
crazy.
background. I can see that.
Crazy.
That's
That
cool.
makes that would make a lot more
Well,
sense for me actually if he was
that would,
always there.
yeah.
'Cause we were
Right.
like,
So
oh, they
Hmm.
just threw this together last minute, but
I thought
I can
Yeah.
see that.
and I agree too, like kind of in that context where like initially you're hearing it and it's like, well, why is this just coming around again? But when I went back and I
Right.
watched X again, I was like, oh shit, this is
Yeah.
like
Okay,
still
Well,
relevant in her life.
I think that
that's
that's like the
reasonable.
part that I didn't so much have an issue with. Like that, I know that's something that a lot of people didn't like about it, but that didn't really bother
That was
me as
me.
much as like for example, we were like super like confused about why Kevin Bacon's character was in the movie at
Yes.
all. Like it seemed like he could have just completely been taken
He
out and
did
nothing
steal
would
the
have
show,
changed.
but it
He
was it
did,
was
but like
wild. It was a
not
lot.
in a good way, in my opinion. Like,
The accent killed me. The lines, I
yeah,
was like, what is happening?
and a lot of it, in
Crow, you
my
hated him?
um,
No, you loved
I
him. You were
I
like Kevin
I
Bacon.
loved him, but I didn't want him in the movie
Yeah, it should have been his own
because,
movie or
well,
something.
a lot of it, for example, that didn't make sense to me was why did he have to constantly be like, hey, like Maxine, you have to show up over here on this time, but like they basically just like I don't want to totally spoil this because it's new, but I mean you kind of see this in the trailer, like kind of just like kidnap the other girls essentially. I mean, they
Yeah,
didn't
they always
like
knew where
show up of their
she
own
was.
accord, but they knew where Maxine lived. Obviously, they saw like on the part where the friend was like leaving on the bike, like they knew where her apartment was, so they could have just like went up and just like yoinked her out of there or whatever, and probably,
Yeah,
you
like
know,
any point in the
and
movie, they could have grabbed her
and
up.
then I was thinking, okay, well maybe they wanted her to show up on her own, but then why did they have like the 30-minute foot chase scene? You know, if it
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
like, okay, well we might as well just go get her now. Like now's the best time to do it.
man.
Like what? I
Yeah,
don't
what
know,
was he
dude. I
ever
felt very
gonna do?
strongly about that. Yeah,
Ty West
I'm trying to
yeah.
just wanted to shoot
concentrate, but
one.
you saying yoink is gonna fucking
I'm
destroy
sorry. Yeah,
everything.
that's my
Just
favorite word, and it can be
hearing
used in
what
most
you're saying.
contexts. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yoink. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, that was good. I mean, now, are there other movies that come to mind that let's just say that people have generally just shit on that you guys, maybe even, it's just kind of a comfort food or something, but things that the two of you love.
Man,
absolutely, but I cannot. I'd have to think on it because I know for a fact
man.
there are so many movies that I was
Okay,
like,
Well,
that
let's think.
movie
'Cause
was
the
awesome.
look, one
question.
for me is going to be Midsummer. I feel like everyone is coming around now being like,
No,
Midsummer is bad, Midsummer is
nobody
terrible.
shit
They're
on
doing so.
what?
They didn't show
Oh,
it at the time. Like when it
oh,
came out,
they
people were
did.
decent. Man,
They
I think it
shit.
probably avoided the
Oh,
circles, but they were like, it's not as scary. Like this is Ari Aster's like phoning it in. This is
okay.
totally like fan service. But I feel like obviously Florence Pugh's like career exploded after Midsummer,
Oh
so
yeah.
Right.
because she did an incredible job. But
No,
I thought it was a good movie. But I feel like now
you're
everyone's turning
right.
against Danny and being
That's
like, why did everyone think
exactly
that she was
it.
the victim? Like she was the bad person. I'm like,
Her
y'all
life
are
is
doing too
literally
much.
in shambles.
Literally,
Like,
her life
yeah.
fell apart. Her boyfriend sucked. I don't feel bad for him. He
Yeah.
got what was coming to him. The friends,
Right.
oh, okay, they were kind of like casually, they were kind of like sucked,
Sorry,
And then the culture was,
we're getting real
yeah, so I get
emotional at this
hyped
point.
up. No, because that's my movie. That's my comfort movie. I love that movie.
Yeah, for
I remember
sure.
being in the theaters. It was very cathartic for me. I was like going through a crazy time in my life. I went to go see it, and I was just like, I relate to Danny so much right now, and I feel like it was such a like good for her kind of movie. And so to
Yeah.
have everyone like turn against really just kind of like that whole Ari Aster A24 vibe is just kind of being shit on a lot lately. I think because
Yeah,
there's like more movies coming from Neon now. I don't know why it has to be like
for
a
sure.
competition, but
Yeah.
either way, I think it was a good movie and it deserves all its flowers. And I don't ever want to see people being like,
Comfort
it's
movies
not
whack.
that good, it's not that scary, it's not
It's a
great.
great
I know,
movie. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
and I like that any folk horror for sure. So
Same.
Dude,
that's just my bias, but yeah,
I honestly
Hell
like
yeah.
I don't know who the fuck it is that's saying that A24 is shit or Ari Aster
yeah,
in general, but like
they're falling
those
Yeah.
off.
movies, it's funny because actually Hereditary was introduced to me very late. I had
Yeah,
seen all
same
these
here.
lists forever
Yeah,
where all these people are like best movie of the decade, best horror movie in the last, 100 fucking years. I just any goofball shit that somebody could say about a horror movie, they were talking about
Yeah.
this movie, and
man.
it put me off completely.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
my wife for Christmas randomly had bought a Blu-ray copy for me. And I'm like,
Oh,
well,
that's nice.
I gotta watch it now,
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
like, okay, I'll check it out. And it took me like over a course of 3 days to really try and like process this movie, and it was
yeah,
Hmm.
fucking unsettling,
yeah. It
like
was. It was
jaunty.
scary. It was
So,
worth seeing whenever you get to it, but
dude,
you know,
you have
it was a good job. It really set the tone. It really got a lot more people into horror. I feel like that was when horror kind of started
like
breaching the mainstream at that
we were
point when
mentioning
Hereditary
earlier,
dropped and Midsummer.
yeah,
I
and
think that movie's
Midsummer.
right there. I think,
That movie was. Now, have you seen there's A24 put out like a special collector's edition. It's like an uncut. I don't know if it's a director's cut,
oh,
but it's like 16 minutes longer.
no, no, but
Of Midsummer Hereditary.
Midsummer.
I don't
I did not
think so.
know that. I
It's
should have known.
it's on
Oh,
A24's site, so they
okay.
have. It's like, well, hold on.
I'm trying to see this. Like, oh my God.
They've
Hereditary
got
is even louder.
this Blu-ray copy,
That's beautiful.
and
Hold
Yeah,
on, I
it's
need a
like
copy.
true.
kind of like
You're
a
exactly right.
folk book. It folds out.
I
One
love
second.
that.
But it like has like all kind
Beautiful.
of like printed out paper and all this
Oh,
shit.
That's
that's
It's
cool.
a
incredible. Man,
crazy
they have
like
incredible
edition
merch.
of it.
They
So
do.
they have a 4K and they have a Blu-ray, and it's got like I think
Wow.
like I said 16 minutes extra. And it was funny because like people were shitting on this edition of the movie because they're like, what the fuck? I paid all this movie for the special edition. It's 16 extra minutes,
Yeah.
but all
Man.
it is additional
Her talking
footage
to
of
him, right? Her
you
talking to the
hating
boyfriend.
her boyfriend.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
I
And it's
did
amazing.
see it. I did see that. Yeah.
It's amazing,
Oh, man.
I
dude. And people were shitting on
But
it. And
why
I'm just
not?
like, this guy's a piece of shit.
I
People are
Like,
sympathizing with him too
originally,
much.
well, that's true. I originally saw that version, so I didn't know why people hated her or why people were like thinking he was like a victim in the situation. And I didn't
No.
realize it was because they probably saw a completely different version than me. But I like, as far as I knew, they had always had that conversation. It was always
Oh,
like
okay.
him being an asshole.
I had to go back and watch that.
yeah,
Yeah, well, it
it's
was the part where I feel like it's been long enough, so it's not really a spoiler to say,
Yeah.
but it's the part where he's basically saying, I can't remember exactly, but he's like telling her that he's gonna like do his project or
Yeah.
his
I was
exam
gonna go leave
shit.
her.
Yeah, and then
It's too
I
much.
can't remember. Do you
Man.
remember exactly what she was saying in that
it
conversation?
I don't remember
was.
exactly,
I
but I know
mean,
the gist is what you're
Yeah,
saying. Like he was about to go do something and she had obviously like just lost her family and she was kind of like being emotional and
you're
wanting to
really
go
gonna
with
leave
her and he
me?
was like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And he was just kind of like, yeah, you're killing the vibes,
yeah.
basically.
yeah.
And like his friends didn't want her to come along.
And
So.
he always just looked so dumb, just like dead behind the eyes. I couldn't stand him.
Yeah, no, literally
It
nothing
made it
about him was
perfect at the
redeeming.
end, when he was dead eyes inside this fucking
Yeah,
bear.
no,
You're like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just like, all right, it all comes together.
there you
And I
go,
get that
brother.
he had that weird scene with like the cult. I get that. That was really fucked up and kind of strange, honestly.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But everyone
I
had
just
fucked
feel
up things
sorry.
happening to them throughout. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. There was
Yeah.
no point when anyone was comfortable in that movie, except I guess for Danny.
Right.
But even she was like obviously grieving the most. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's my movie that I think people are just over hating right now. But
Dude, and
it's
Yeah,
okay.
I agree.
Ari Aster stuff, I think especially like
Yeah.
there's things with his movies that you can go back and not realize. Like there's a
Sorry,
moment
I thought of
later
mine.
in Midsummer, like even in when I saw it in theater,
Right.
I didn't know if I was imagining it, but it's later when she's being carried on, that like trellis basically with like all the rose and like flower,
Yeah.
gown and shit, that there is like a transparent image in the background of her sister with or
Oh
of
my
her
god.
family with like that mask on their face
Oh man.
and it's
Oh,
in the trees.
oh, that's
Wait.
Do you
sad.
remember what I'm
I
talking
believe.
about or no?
I
Yeah,
feel
I
like I
mean,
do.
I didn't
I feel
see
like I do
that
because there was a
part.
lot of like I don't know what I'm looking for is but a lot of like surreal imagery going on in this movie. A lot of like
Yeah.
trippy drug elements. So there probably
Yeah.
I think there was a scene like that at the end, and it's just kind of like man, like
Well,
everything's
I'm in
just
the
coming together. It
theater.
felt
I'm like,
beautiful. It felt
did I
warm. It
just
felt like this
fucking
was a
see
happy
this?
ending.
Yeah.
No, there are definitely points
Oh
in the
my
movie when I was like, is this really happening, or am I just like tripping at this point? No,
Yeah.
yeah, the
See,
subliminals in the movie were really, really
V.
beautiful.
Batiste says apparently there was a couple in Hereditary that looked exactly like Danny and Christian, but you only see them like you just see them briefly, which is really cool. I
Really?
love little stuff
I
like
can
that when
see
they tie
that.
things together between
I'm sure he
movies.
did
That's
like work
sick.
with a lot of
in
people.
Hereditary?
And yeah, apparently like at in the grocery store parking lot you can see like basically, yeah, which is really cool.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
Have
thought of
you
my
guys?
movie, by the way,
What is
Okay.
that
it?
I feel like nobody else liked except for me
Okay.
was I'm not gonna say that because there are obviously people that really resonated, but I feel like a lot of people like maybe not necessarily hate, but like fully do not understand Possession from 1981. That's like one of my favorite horror movies. Like I think it's
Man.
amazing movie. Incredible movie.
Who doesn't like this movie?
A lot of people don't. I had a conversation, they were saying like, "Oh, it's not a bad movie, but I just don't understand the entire point." And I was like, it's
Dude.
literally just like this woman just complete like just losing her mind and just completely losing like
Yeah.
the need to like be
Try
structured
to
and
be
like
normal.
be like a responsible mother, right? Like she just completely like just goes ape shit basically. And obviously there's
Or
the
with the
unhealthy relationship,
groceries?
toxic
That
relationship stuff.
scene was
Yeah,
incredible.
that
Yeah, where
milk
she just
and all the shit in the
that was
subway. Yeah, that's
disgusting.
insane.
But I was like, I don't
Yeah,
know, that might scare
Look,
girl, but
I love
yeah,
that movie.
I even have times where I'm like, I'm this fucking close to being that woman in
yes.
possession that
Oh,
I'm this close.
every
I'm
day
gonna
of my
cause a
life.
scene.
Yeah, I
I
think about it
swear
all
to
the time.
God.
Like I'm about to
I'm
break
just gonna
something right now.
lose it right
I'm about
now.
to
It's
make
gonna come
shit
apart.
weird for all y'all. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you realize you're saying this to a crowd of people that they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? I've never seen
Yeah.
What
this
is
movie.
possession? Yeah.
Never mind.
You're like,
Jesus, you
Yeah.
losers aren't
yeah.
worth this shit.
That's crazy.
No, I love Midsummer. I love Hereditary. Like the A24 stuff. I was gonna ask though,
Yeah.
have either of you ever seen The Strange Thing About the Johnsons?
No, we need to
Oh
watch
my
it. We
God.
have been
Look.
putting it off. We're putting it
Dude,
off.
Not heard, the things I've heard about that movie and the scenes that I've seen were
It's
just
terrifying,
extreme for
yeah.
me. So I'm really not sure
Yeah.
I'm missing out by
We
not seeing
will.
it yet.
We
I did
will
not
at
know it was
some
Ari
point.
Aster. When you told me, I was like,
Yeah.
wait, what? This guy? But he
Yeah.
really is all over the place with his movies. I mean, so
Yeah.
I shouldn't be surprised. But I was
crazy.
just like,
It
we're
just
going
seems
to watch
heavy.
it. I think we are going to watch it, but I just know I'm going to be like, man, why did we do this? I know.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be one of those movies,
Yeah.
honestly.
Because he
Insane.
has like through film school, or maybe even it was post, but he has I think either 4 or 5 short films that
Okay.
he
Yeah.
had done prior to Hereditary or anything that he became known. Like even
Oh, those
Yeah.
he has a
short
short
films.
film called Bo that was
Yeah, but
loose
became Beau
trying
was
to connect
Afraid.
to Bo as a
Oh,
fret as afraid.
Yeah.
okay, okay, okay.
Which that's another
Um,
movie. I didn't like have strong. I guess I sort of liked it. I know a lot of people hated that movie, and that was kind of the beginning of people being like, "A24's falling off, Ari Aster's falling off." It was definitely it did its job as giving you anxiety, but I don't think people want to be anxious in a movie theater. So
For
that was
that long, for
kind
like
of a
three
lot.
hours or
for
whatever.
Yeah,
three and
yeah,
a
for
half
three
fucking
Oh
hours.
hours,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
a
my
long
God,
time
three
to
and
be
a
uncomfortable
half.
out of your mind. Yeah, I was like,
Golly.
that was definitely
Yeah.
adventurous. I
at
had to
what
do,
point are you
but
popping pills just to try and
just
get through the thing? You know, like
man.
holy man, you got me all the way
Ah,
fucking blood boiling here. Yeah,
yes.
and I honestly I love Ari Aster. I love his stuff. I love when people even go out of their comfort zone and do something weird and kooky,
Yeah.
whether it's a fucking cock monster or not.
Yeah, for
Yep.
Whether,
sure. Bring
whether
out all the crazy shit. I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Why not?
that's
Why
my
not?
shit.
Come on, do something
Yeah,
crazy. Like
but
or
you
even
know,
like war movies, you know?
yeah,
there was just so many things where I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like I
right.
realize, that we have like a lot of talent involved and there was some amazing performances, set pieces, score. I mean, what more can you say about it? But it was just kind of one of
Yeah.
those things. I think even along with like Long Legs where it was like really wanting to like it is okay.
Give it,
Yeah,
give
this kind of fell
it, give it
flat.
some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old
Sit with it a
time.
little
Yeah,
bit, think about it. Maybe watch it again when it comes on
Yeah.
streaming.
for sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, no. It was
Now,
fun.
are there so you guys you had mentioned the other couple, are either of you big into collecting as far as having like physical media or movies at all, Blu-rays, DVDs, VHS?
Yeah, I collect VHS. I don't
Yeah.
have a huge collection yet, but I'm like building it up. And like books, have a lot of like horror books and just things like that. So I'm
Oh,
trying to just
okay.
expand all that. But
Yeah, I'm also early stages. I have like posters, like I have Texas Chainsaw Massacre poster, and I have this cute little. I guess I could like pull it out, but I have this cute
heck
little
yeah.
pearl sign that a friend got for
Aw,
me. So
I love
definitely a
it.
fan. I do want to collect a lot more like memorabilia. I'm serious. I want to get the Talk to Me hand, like Molly birthday. They has like an
Yes.
incense holder that's in the shape of the Talk to Me hand, which I think is
Yes.
incredible.
Yes.
Super cute.
I for your birthday last year, I got you an A24 membership, so they like send the
And I
zines.
have,
I need to get one for myself pretty soon because I need some of that stuff for real.
yeah,
Like I want
I
everything.
have some of them here. I don't remember which
What
Yes.
ones I have. Yeah, I
what all
have,
comes what all comes with that?
Um.
so right when you first start, you get like a pin, you get like a card and all that stuff, but you get zines and then you get like discounts on their store and stuff, which I should have
Yeah.
used before.
And then
But
buys to movies too.
basically, I have like a Brendan Fraser one that had come out like around the time the
Yes.
whale came out,
Yes.
sorry. And then I have like an Iron Claw special one. And then
Oh
this one is
yeah.
like kind of just like some abstract like dream theater, like it feels like it's supposed to be almost like a Wes Anderson kind of vibe,
Are
but
those
it
like
just has like a bunch of different.
folders? What the fuck is that?
No, they're
Oh, it's like a booklet. Okay.
zines. Yeah, they're
Yeah. Full like basically a
zines.
little mini magazines.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
And there's always
Okay.
a poster included. So it's a pretty sick membership,
Yes,
honestly. And they have
it is
I want to
sick.
get like more stuff. I want to be one of those people with the hats and like the cute little shirts and everything. It's definitely on my
Yeah,
list
this
to
posters.
collect.
It's
Dude,
cute.
Absolutely.
people go and just absolutely raw dogging with shit like that. That's awesome.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it.
Um, let's see. Late Night with the Devil. Two of you see
Yep.
that? Are
Yeah.
Yeah.
you into it?
That's probably our like or at least that's my movie of the summer so far. Like I feel like that was a
Wait,
great horror.
so he said that how sick is it that Late Night with the Devil dropped the raw TV show footage on VHS? Are you
Oh,
kidding me?
no
I need
way. You have to
that.
get that. Yeah, you have
Yeah,
to add that to
Do
your
not.
we
collection.
loved it. That was
Yeah,
our
did
movie of
not
the
see
week.
that.
No, it
I
was a
just
good
saw
one.
the movie
I'm gonna have
title.
to look
Shit.
into that.
Oh yeah. No, it
Man.
was a good movie. David Dastmalchian was just so awesome. He played a great, like
He's our
sleazy
king.
but also
He's
warm,
our king.
late night guy. I love the concept. Like no one has done that. That was super clever to me. Like, okay, we're gonna have this
Yeah.
late night movie, but also we're gonna make it real freaky. And I thought like the
Yeah.
special effects were good. I really enjoyed it. And it wasn't too
Yeah.
long either. It was like a nice you go in, you
Oh,
watch it, we're good.
fabulous. Yeah.
Perfect.
Does it?
It
Yeah.
all came
Yeah,
together
for
for
sure.
me.
For sure. I mean, there's different things too. Like I just saw, and maybe this is, this might be a fun hot take moment, but have you seen the new Strangers at all?
No, we need to
No,
do
but
it. I
we
just keep
want
hearing
to. It's on
bad
our list.
things.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of half and half. There's like
Yeah.
bad and good, so we weren't really sure whether to go for it. I get influenced a lot by reviews as well, so
I
I
do
try to go in
too.
blind when I can.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
once I've been poisoned, it's hard.
It's hard because they just released like the Blu-ray or there was a steelbook that like Walmart did like an exclusive, and the
Ooh,
fucking cover art is amazing. Like the whole
Oh.
steelbook looks so cool. I'm just like,
Oh.
do I want
man.
to pay $45 for this
Yeah.
just to find out that it's
Oh
not that? I'm like,
man.
They hit us where it
yeah.
hurts. They hit
Yeah,
us where it
Yeah.
they
You know,
know.
hurts.
I mean, when I was a kid, I could pick up a DVD and it was like $10.
Yeah,
It was
that
15 for the
was
special
all. Like it
edition.
was just easy,
It's like nowadays
Or in the
it's
five
Yeah,
dollar
like
bin.
50 fucking dollars. You're like,
Yeah.
what do I do?
yeah. something
Do I
like
want to buy dinner tonight or this movie? You know.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll be honest, sometimes I don't choose dinner. Sometimes I go hungry. I go to bed hungry.
Well, here I am. That's why I mentioned that because I'm like, well, tonight it's not going for me. It's not going very
Yeah.
well. But I'm gonna have a cool movie to watch. So
Heck
very
yeah.
good.
Love
Now,
it.
as far as even like the Halloween series, these newer Halloween movies, were either of you impressed with those, or would you rather kind of stick with the older
Are you
classics? How'd you feel about
talking
those?
about like the Rob Zombie one?
The newest, like David Gordon Green. Have you
Oh,
seen
like,
any of those?
I actually hadn't seen it. I didn't see like the newest one that had come out. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, I mean, I've heard like good things and I've heard bad things. I like obviously am a huge fan of the first two movies. Even honestly, kind of like the older ones that came out after
yeah.
that, I was like kind of iffy on, but I do eventually want to come around to that newer one.
Hmm,
I'm
okay.
iffy about
Okay.
remakes. I usually like the original more.
Well, it's
Even though
not.
it's supposed to be funny. I used to be. Oh, sorry. No, it's not a remake.
No,
It's
you're
more like a
the
extension.
newer one is kind of just like a continuation of the plot,
Oh,
but the Rob
okay.
Zombie
Okay.
one was a remake.
Oh, okay. 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 That's fair. That's fair. No, I haven't seen the newest one yet. I imagine then. I don't know. I feel like these movies that came out a while ago, I feel like they are good for their time. It's kind of like leave it where it is.
Hmm.
Sometimes you can extend the franchise, sometimes you can't. That's kind of how I feel about the Scream series as well. I'm like, okay, maybe they should just left it where it was, but I don't know. That's just me personally. I like
Yeah,
newer movies, but I also older movies like them where they are. So that's just me
yeah,
though.
that's kind of where I'm at.
I agree too. I think there were some aspects that I loved and I thought were fun, but I think as far as some of the original stuff, it just kind of felt like it was something where it's like, let's just leave it alone. And the Rob Zombie
Yeah,
one, even more so.
Yeah.
I don't want to be offensive, but
you didn't like
were
it?
atrocious to me.
Oh my God.
I could,
I liked the first one. And I liked it because I thought that it was cool that they kind of like showed a little bit more of like what his experience like in the like mental hospital would have been basically. I thought that was cool rather than just Dr. Loomis being like, yeah, he's like evil, like he's just
Yeah.
bad. Like he's unfeeling, which I think is still cool. Like I like the idea of like not really knowing until you like see what he's capable of. But I did think it was really cool that they showed him as like a teenager and then they showed him as just being like kind of just like a weird kid. I
Yeah,
liked all
origin
that.
story.
But
yeah.
and then I also like that scene where he like hits his sister's boyfriend in the head with the bat and he's just like shaking on the floor. I thought that was just super like scary. But yeah, yeah, I mean there are certain parts about it that I wasn't crazy about, but I basically liked everything as far as like the backstory.
Okay. Okay. And I think what like something that resonates with me in particular with Halloween and with, Michael Myers when I was a kid and with the original movie was, before you really even getting to know or even realize that you aren't knowing a backstory, I think that was what was almost more scary was like the mystery
Mhm.
behind like
Yeah,
they
who is this
mentioned
guy?
that he's the embodiment of evil and it's like, well,
Yeah,
what happened? Did
Yeah.
anything happen? Was there some and it's just this shape of a body with a mask and he's got a knife and he gets close enough he's gonna fuck you up.
yeah,
That was just being a little kid and I remember like thinking of like fuck man how did
Yeah.
he get this like that just made it so scary to me personally
yeah,
that
for sure, for
I
sure.
think of that so sometimes the backstories when people do remakes and things I'm like yeah it
Sometimes it
can
could be a
it can
little bit
help
too
every once in a
much.
while but
Yeah.
yeah but um yeah, somebody Rob Zombie doing his own. Yeah, no. No Halloween Rob Zombie.
IP?
God
What is
damn it.
IP?
I don't know. I couldn't even read that.
Okay.
But
Oh, I guess like
what's what's
intellectual
IP,
property or
brother?
something like that. Like doing his own ideas, maybe.
I don't know.
Or is it a
Help,
fake
like there
with
were
his
help.
tongue?
Yeah, help. Oh, doing his own, like, I guess, yeah, like Lords of Salem type, House of a Thousand Corpses type stuff. Yeah,
Oh.
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that is
Yeah.
what it means. Damn, Char, she's so
Oh
smart.
yeah.
Yeah, intellectual property, yeah,
Intellectual copy.
for sure, for
And,
sure.
and honestly, like, even those movies too. Lord of Salem was cool. I thought, like, the House of a Thousand Corpses,
Yeah.
that's always fun. I mean, but yeah, anything as far as that. Now, the two of you initially were with someone else when Terror Takeover starts. How do
Yeah,
you
we had
guys
a third.
Yeah.
conversate about coming up with a show and coming up with an idea for something like this as far as a podcast?
Um, I think it was we kind of all just wanted to be involved. Like we all were already talking about things like this and we all already enjoyed this, but we kind of more wanted to create a paper trail that we were really interested in and just be a part of the community in a more like foundational way.
Yeah.
So I think that was really it for me is I was hoping eventually, I mean, I'm a person full of pipe dreams and I was really hoping to eventually start doing con circuits, actually like showing up and like trying to get interviews with people that were going to cons and things like that. But you know, life happens and I have two jobs and have been touring for like a long time. So it's kind of been hard to make the time to do that. But I'm in a place where I have a lot more time to focus on things like that. So that's been good. It's been like I've been in a good headspace about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we knew that we were both like super into horror, and like we're obviously all
Yeah.
really good friends, and we also just like yap between each other all the time. Like we're just talking about anything. We're like, why not make a podcast and like actually record ourselves doing this, and like let's be
Hmm.
knowledgeable about this whole genre. Let's see where we can take it, and then it all just kind of
Right.
went from there. We honestly, I was surprised that we kind of kept at it and kept pushing, and we just kept dropping out
Yeah.
episodes really every week, which was a lot. That was intense, but we did it. We were
Yeah.
jamming through movies, churning out
Oh
episodes,
my gosh.
making merch,
Yeah.
mostly for us, not for other people. Their own events.
Yeah.
Like it was a grind, but it was good. It was really a testament to our own like dedication to doing this
Yeah.
and to what we wanted our friendship to be. So it was incredible,
For
and still is.
sure.
It still is incredible. We love still doing it now.
It's hard
Yeah.
trying to put out thing, you know, like, you know, for anybody, you know, kind of looking into like content or, you know, like creators or things like that, whatever the fuck, you know, like that
Yeah,
term that you want to throw out. But you know, I mean, it can be difficult trying to get those types of things, especially, you know, like you have a family, you have, you know,
Hmm.
jobs, you have different things outside of, you know, like, so it's kind of one of those things. But I do think, you know, the note that you're mentioning as far as like cons and everything is interesting. Um, at some point, like you guys, if you got guests on, that's even kind of along those lines. I think that's what's
yeah,
kind of fun, where like this show here, you know, had started from like all of the cool people that were just had pages and awesome
Hmm.
copies of VHS, and I'm just like, wonder what their story is, you know? And I mean,
Yeah.
so even
yeah.
if, you know, like if it was something where like cons don't work out or whatever, maybe have some guests on, you know, start like shooting the shit with,
Yeah.
you know, random cats that might bring on
Trying to do
some
that
piece of
more.
shit movie.
For sure.
Yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure. We've
I
been
think
thinking
we
about more
were,
getting involved with the community and having people like that we can talk to and get to know what their horror story
yeah,
is, what they're into horror for. And we had a couple that we know like personally, but expanding to other people as well would be really cool.
Yeah.
for sure.
Huh?
Yeah, I think we were trying to get to a point where we felt confident enough doing it like just by
Yeah.
ourselves before we started getting people on, and that's why we kind of started getting guests late in the game. But yeah, that's definitely something that we're focusing on doing a lot more in the near
Yeah.
future.
No,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, and obviously, I mean, it was just kind of an idea and something, you know, that I had heard that you'd mentioned that, you know, as far as like getting out and branching out and doing things like that. And there's a
Hmm.
lot of cool people on here. I mean, it's a cool community to be able to talk to and
Absolutely.
just hearing people's stories. And then it's fun every once in a while when someone's like, hey, I brought, you know, a basket case. Have you ever seen this piece of shit?
Yeah.
It's like, no, let's check this out and
Yeah.
talk about.
Yeah.
But
Jesus.
no, I mean that's cool. I love any sort of, you know, the opportunity, you know, from different people on here, and you know, your guys' story and digging into such. So
Yeah.
I do want to say thank you very much for the time tonight. This has been
Yeah,
awesome and
thank you for having
lots of
us.
fun.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah,
Yeah.
fun
it's
to
been a good time.
feature too. It's great to
Hell
talk about
yeah.
what we like in horror too, with someone else who knows a ton about it and,
Yeah.
you know, can really put us onto some movies. Like my to watch list has just grown
Yep.
considerably.
True.
Yeah, and if anything, you know, I always like I like watching and seeing if there's things that you guys are mentioning too, where there's movies that I haven't seen, or you know, like listening to, or kind of chiming in, and so always having fun and having a good time with things. But yeah,
Yes.
I like I say, I really appreciate, you know, the time tonight. This has been a lot of fun, and you know, we've
Absolutely.
covered some controversy, you know, we've
Yeah.
covered some personal
That's some
interest.
spicy takes.
We got to. Yeah. We gotta,
No,
me and Char gotta get heated about something once in a while, so.
yeah. All right. Well, I want to say thank you so much. Well, you know, once again, I don't want to take up your whole night here, getting a little late, and you know, for you, the two of you to be able to go on about things. But thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It's been a great time. Thank you to everybody who's been hanging out as well
Yeah.
and chatting. I really appreciate that.
And I was going to mention to anybody who, you know, came in a little bit late, this would be up on my YouTube page probably like the next month or so. I'll have it promoted on here and tag you guys and everything. But yeah, until then, thank you very much. We'll see you
Thank
soon, guys.
you.
See y'all
Have a good
next
one.
time.
All right, see ya.
Dun, 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 dun. He's a lo-fi horror guy. Yeah, he's kind of a guy, but he is so lo-fi, lo-fi, a horror guy. Yeah. Lo-fi horror guy has been recorded in front of a live studio audience.